up to this point, when it's time to select things, I've been clicking on them directly, right? If I want to erase something, I have to go and click on it directly. This takes a while, right? Especially if we have a lot of objects we need to get rid of. Clicking on objects one at a time is kind of a drag. So there are several ways to select things in AutoCAD. So let's talk about them. Okay. Picking is one way to select objects. Here is the second way to select objects. I'm going to left click out an empty space here, and I'm going to pull my cursor to the right. And do you see that window that's forming on the screen? Right, so there is a blue shaded area, looks like a rectangle. And as objects fall within that rectangle, do you see how they're getting highlighted? See, it means they're getting selected. So if I start out here and I pull to the right, we're going to see that some of these objects are getting selected. Now take a close look, because with this window, objects need to be totally inside the window in order to get selected. And do you see how all the lines in the bottom shape are being selected, but not all the lines in the top shape are being selected? Just the ones that are totally inside the window. So that's a lot faster than picking one thing at a time. If we needed to get everything, we could make one window and select it all. And then if you hit erase, because we selected the objects first, they'll be erased. So making a window is a second way of selecting things. I say erase, I say select these things, and only those things totally inside the window get selected. Another way of selecting objects is to click in the right, drag to the left. Now take a look. This window looks different, doesn't it? This window isn't blue, this window is green. And the last window had a frame around it that was a solid line. This window has a frame around it that is a dash line. So the one we just made was called a window. This is called a crossing window. And now the crossing window behaves a little bit differently from the window. See, with the crossing window, you don't have to totally have the line inside the window to get selected. Look at the triangle over here. You see how all the lines are going to get selected, even though the longest two lines are not totally inside? So the behavior of the window is different than the behavior of this window. This one you have to be totally inside. This one you could just be even a little tiny bit inside and you'll get selected. So we can pick on objects to select them. We can window objects to select them, or we can do a crossing window and select them. Another way to select objects is to make a lasso. And here is a lasso. I will left click, hold down my click, and you see I'm drawing a shape, and that shape is kind of like a squiggle. So you can make a free form selection by making a lasso. If you go from the left to the right, you're making a window style lasso. You have to be totally inside to get selected. But if you go from the right to the left, now you're making a crossing lasso. And even if you're just a little bit inside, you're going to get a selection. And then finally, the easiest way to select everything, when it asks you to select objects, you can just type all, A-L-L, and now everything is selected. Okay. So our selection methods are picking, where you click directly on an object, windowing, crossing window, lassoing, crossing lasso, or at the command line, just tell it what you want. I want all. And then when we select, we're also going to have to deselect sometimes. Maybe we want to erase a bunch of stuff, but then we decide, oh, I want to keep some of it too. So I want to keep the shape in the top. So if you hold down Shift and click on Select, right? If you hold down the Shift while you're selecting and then click on objects, now you are deselecting them. You see they're not selected anymore. And you can hold down Shift and do a window, And you can even hold down shift to do a crossing window or a lasso to deselect them. Right, so I say erase, and then I highlight everything, and then I have a change of heart. I hold down the shift and I say, but not that, not that, or that, and not these. So when I hit enter and execute the command, only certain things go away.